This Brazilian YouTuber with 2 million subscribers took his own life before he could be exposed as the pedophile that he was. This is PC Siqueira. He was known for his appearances on Brazilian TV networks, his comic book coloring, and his interesting content. But right before Christmas last year, he posted this chilling clip. In this post, he wishes his followers a lonely Merry Christmas, and a few days later, he would be dead. PC was found by his girlfriend at the time. He was 37 years old, and he had taken his own life in his apartment in Brazil. But unbeknownst to a lot of people, in 2020, the authorities began looking into PC after child abuse images were found on his phone. And according to the authorities investigating this, he had shared these images out to other pedophiles. Now, interestingly, when you look up this guy, there are a number of articles that come up, but this one from the Daily Mail says he posted a heartbreaking Christmas message. And it makes no mention of the fact that he was under investigation for sharing CSAM or CP videos. Now, I don't know what happened with this investigation after he took his own life. I don't know if they followed up on the leads, but I definitely think the fact that he took his own life is related to the unfolding pedophile investigation that he was embroiled in. Eerily enough, his TikTok account is still up and running. It has been verified. TikTok refuses to verify me, probably because I talk about this stuff. And I don't know if we'll ever know the true story about exactly what they found on his phone, exactly how many images and videos, because I don't really know how investigations like this go in a country like Brazil. I recently spent a full month investigating and exposing a CP ring in Michigan, and this information is explosive, it's dangerous, and if you're interested in this sort of thing and want to help me raise awareness about it, you should go watch this video that I just posted on my YouTube. Here's my channel. If you're lost, you can just go to my channel and click on the most recent videos. But yeah, this is important stuff that we need to talk about because it's so prevalent, and if we don't raise awareness, this will continue to happen time and time again.
Weird ass facts that I know for some reason. Most Koreans have a genetic mutation called ABCC11, which makes their sweat odorless. If you ate a polar bear's liver, you would literally die because there's way too much vitamin A for a human to handle. If you ever find yourself seeing an anteater doing this silly T-pose, get the fuck away, because that is their way of warning you that they're about to claw your eyes out. On average, around 2,195 children die from diarrhea every single day. That is more than AIDS, measles, and malaria combined. Around 95% of whale semen is dumped into the ocean during mating season. You actually have a lot more in common with gorillas than you think. For instance, the average length of a gorilla's schlong is 2 inches.
The creepiest theories known to man. If the human body senses trauma it is unable to combat, it will switch off metabolism, pump endorphins, and slip into a pain-free dissociative state. In essence, you just shut down. Prey animals display this behavior when they're caught by predators. That's why they seem so unfazed when they're about to be eaten. If you die while being beheaded, the last thing you might see is your decapitated body. The dark forest theory. Why haven't we seen any other advanced life forms, despite the vastness of the universe? Other advanced life forms don't send out signals into the rest of the universe, because they're worried that something more advanced and dangerous is going to find them first. Dead-end trips. It's possible to travel so far away from where you started that the expansion of the universe will exceed the speed you were traveling at. You can't return home because home is receding faster than you can travel. You can't reach your destination because it too is receding faster than you can travel. You can no longer get anywhere, only get further away from everything. That mind control actually exists. It's something that would never go public because whoever was able to perfect it first would be in a position to use it on whoever is aware of its existence.
These are the worst countries to get arrested. Up first is Singapore. This country has severely strict laws. You can't chew gum, spit, or even walk around your own house naked. But if you end up going there and get caught doing any of these, you'll face a fine, serious jail time, or worse. So just imagine chewing gum walking down the street, and suddenly you get arrested and get thrown in jail for 5 years. Next up is North Korea. This is pretty self-explanatory, but let me explain why. If you get arrested in North Korea, even if it's for the most minor thing, you will either be thrown in jail, a labor camp, or executed. If you so much just speak your own opinion in this country, you can be arrested and killed.
Crazy things happening in the world right now. An Indiana judge ruled that tacos and burritos are sandwiches. These beds are arriving at the Paris Olympics to stop the athletes from getting into large groups and doing adult things at night. Stoplights in Oakland are being replaced by stop signs after thieves have been cutting the signal of the stoplight for its copper wire. McDonald's is trying to get rid of free refills by removing all self-serve machines by 2032. A teenager was given a ticket for almost $1,000 because he was using his phone in the McDonald's drive-thru. Roku wants to take over HDMI feeds with ads. A parliament member in Taiwan ran away with the bill to prevent it from being passed. Journalists have been stealing President Biden's pillowcases from Air Force One. The Louvre Museum is considering moving the Mona Lisa underground to stop public disappointment. This Florida teenager says she was denied entry to prom due to her wearing a suit. Louisiana is now the first state to require the 10 Commandments be posted in every classroom.
Hey, he's got her at gunpoint. Listen, we don't want to hurt you, okay? Just let your mom walk to us. Keep your hands up. Do not reach behind your back. Where's the gun? Do not reach for it. He's going back in the house. Ma'am, come here. Walk to my flashlight. Hey, he just popped out with the gun. Ma'am, get away from him now and come here. Stop reaching in your waistband. I'm hit. Tourniquet, 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 tourniquet. I'm hit.
The moment we have all been waiting for.
Thank you, Your Honor. Commonwealth rest.
It took 29 long days, but we have finally gotten to the point where the Commonwealth rests its case in the Karen Read trial. 29 days to present their entire case. It would appear that the defense team says that they will only need 3 days to present their case. Now listen, I don't know how all these things come together, but I gotta feel bad to some extent for Adam Wowie because this is not an easy case to win whatsoever. Now on the flip side, from his perspective, his delivery is just infuriating. It's so painful in the style of which he approached the chronological order of this thing, which seems like it makes sense, but really shouldn't have. He should have just come out the gate with Jen McCabe or somebody along those lines. It's just, it was a tough 29 days. But I think I'm like everybody else. Why don't we just hear it? Let's just hear it one more time, just to be sure.
Thank you, Your Honor. Commonwealth rest.
Hallelujah.
Things that almost no humans can do, apart from not showing. If you can, then you're bloody weird. This is where you bend your pinky finger without moving your ring finger. And only 5% of humans can actually do this. Do you like this video if you can do it?
Crazy things happening in the world right now. A woman withdrew a counterfeit $100 bill from a Wells Fargo ATM. The man who posted the dress that broke the internet admitted to strangling his wife last month. This remote tribe in South America was finally connected to the internet thanks to Elon's Starlink. Results show that the tribe has become heavily addicted to adult websites. 706 people named Kyle got together in Texas, but it wasn't enough for a world record. This veteran's wife sliced off his manhood, and now he's lost his toes thanks to toxic water. $500,000 of baby eels were seized at the Toronto airport. This woman gave herself poop transplants from her brother's feces in order to help her IBS, and then started developing acne just like his. We just discovered the largest black hole in our galaxy, and it's only 2,000 light years away from us. Bodies in Canada are going unclaimed because funeral costs are getting so expensive.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew, part 21. This photo shows 8-month-old Zhao Bao who was lucky to be alive because his mother stabbed him 90 times after he bit her while she was breastfeeding him. The world's scariest haunted house, McCamey Manor, requires you to sign a 40-page waiver and undergo a physical and mental evaluation. If you manage to make it through the house, you could win $20,000. But to this day, no one has ever made it through. The little girl who voiced Ducky in The Land Before Time was shot to death by her father, who then committed suicide. Roman Emperor Nero had a boy castrated, dressed him up as a bride, and married him, all because the boy looked similar to his previous dead wife. A 46-year-old man found and attacked a 13-year-old boy because the kid was killing him too many times in a game of Call of Duty.
Why the hell are North Korea now building a border wall? You see, according to new satellite images, North Korea is building something that resembles a wall in several places near its border with South Korea. It's not clear when they started this unannounced project, but as you can see, these structures were not visible in this image captured in November 2023. And although North and South Korea are still technically at war, having never signed a peace treaty, reunification of the two countries has always been the publicly stated goal of Kim Jong-un. But at the beginning of this year, for some reason, everything changed. For the first time, Kim announced that reunification with the South is no longer possible. He changed the constitution to designate them as the principal enemy, and that if war did break out, it should reflect the issue of occupying, recapturing, or incorporating the South into its territory. He shut down 3 organizations dealing with reunification, simulated nuclear strikes on the South, called for a build-up of the country's military arsenal, held live-fire exercises near the South's territory, sent close to 1,000 balloons over the border carrying trash and feces, and then most recently becoming best friends with Putin, signing a critical partnership agreement providing for mutual help in the event of aggression against either of them. And now we've got a war. So the question is this just classic North Korea warmongering, or should the risk of escalation be taken very seriously?
Would you adopt him?
Facts that will mess with your perception of time. The last execution by guillotine in France happened after the first ever Star Wars premiered. What? The corporation Nintendo, that was formed the same year that Starry Night was painted. By Vincent van Gogh. The Roman Empire fell in 1453. And America was discovered 40 years later in 1492. Those 2 points in history are miles apart in my head. In 1861, Italy became an official country. And in 1886, Coca-Cola was invented. They were probably serving Coke at the 25-year anniversary of Italy itself. Rosa Parks and Harriet Tubman, both prominent female figures in the civil rights movement, were alive during the same time. Like for a few months, but that's still crazy. In 1686, Isaac Newton came up with the 3 laws of motion. And in 1692, the Salem witch trial started. We were doing so well with science. And then we were just like, oh no, women are witches actually.
Louisiana has just become the first state to require that the 10 Commandments must be displayed in every public school classroom. The legislation was signed into law yesterday and requires a poster-sized display of the 10 Commandments in large, easily readable font in all classrooms from kindergarten to university. Now, as you'd imagine, this law, which comes into effect in 2025, has split some opinions. Some are praising it, saying that it gives kids a moral guide and that it's not just religious text, it has historical significance. But opponents have already said that they vow to sue, saying that it violates the separation of the church and the state and it is blatantly unconstitutional. So the question is, do you think that this law is a good or bad idea?
Disturbing facts that will ruin your life. Coconuts kill more people than sharks every year. Same with cows. Vending machines are actually twice as likely to kill you than a shark is. France was still executing people via guillotine when the first Star Wars film came out. There are more fake flamingos in the world than real ones. There are more tigers in Texas than the rest of the world. There's enough iron in your body to make a 3-inch nail. Beethoven
This is what the last 24 hours of a death row prisoner looks like. First, the inmate is woken bright and early so they can make their last phone calls to friends and family, while the equipment in the death chamber is tested, including either the gurney straps or the electric chair's components. The inmate is then given a budget of $15 to $40 for their last meal, and they eat it at around 4 p.m. But in some states, prisoners no longer get to pick their last meal at all, so they only get the usual prison food. Next, both the victim and the condemned friends and family wait in the witness room for lethal injection. The prisoner is told to lay down on the gurney and is tied down by a team. Doctors don't perform executions because this goes against their code of ethics, so a special team administers the drugs. Sometimes inmates make a final statement, then the warden gives a signal to the executioner, and as the day ends, so does the prisoner's life.
Tell me what this is, let me know in the comments.
I'll tell you one thing, you definitely don't want to touch that thing. That was a highly venomous creature known as a giant siphonophore. You can't miss them. They're the longest creature in the world, getting up to 50 meters long. That's longer than a blue whale. That's half a football field. But the crazy thing is they're not even considered one creature. It's actually a colony of creatures known as zooids that move together as one unit. Some of them are for digestion, some for reproduction, and some of them for stinging. And a sting by one of them is said to be one of the most excruciating pains in the world. Their venom is also a neurotoxin, so it can paralyze the prey as well. But the craziest part is you don't even need to touch it. If anything gets too close to a siphonophore, they can fire their stingers. And their stingers will chase you because they're alive. That is one dangerous noodle. Moral of the story, if you're ever in the water and you see this thing, admire it from a distance. A really far distance. And as always, follow for more facts.
Have you guys seen this video that's gone viral of this woman getting sucked into the ocean while walking on the beach with her boyfriend? So this happened on June 16th in the city of Sochi in Russia when this 20-year-old woman was walking on the beach with her boyfriend when these huge waves began hitting them. At first, it didn't seem too serious and they probably didn't feel threatened, but after a while, the waves got bigger and stronger. This poor woman is then seen being swept into the ocean while her boyfriend was able to run out. He then tries to find her, but at this point it seems like it's too late. What's crazy is that this was all caught on camera and it was reported that after 3 days she still wasn't found. This is so tragic and sad, and it's a reminder that the ocean can be unpredictable and dangerous.
Strangest facts about each zodiac sign. Part 1. Taurus. Many Tauruses are known to be stalkers. If not lurking on you in real life, but probably creeping on your Instagram story. Gemini. Geminis are known to be extremely good liars. Even catching them in the act, they'll somehow try and convince you that they didn't do it. Don't forget to like and follow for more videos.
Let's take a look at 3 of the most horrific torture methods in human history. Up first we have the heretic's fork. This device was used mainly during the Spanish Inquisition. It had 2 sharp ends which were positioned pointing at the victim's chin and neck, meaning that they couldn't nod their head or fall asleep without risking wounding themselves. The victims were forced to wear the heretic's fork until they confessed to crimes that they may or may not have committed. Next up we have the brazen bowl. This torture device was a hollowed-out bronze statue shaped like a bowl with enough space for a human being to fit inside. Once the victim had been locked within the statue, a fire would be built underneath, essentially baking them alive. In an ironic twist of fate, the person that invented this device would also become its first victim. Finally, we have Judas's cradle. This gruesome device was used during the 16th century. It was essentially a 3-legged stool, but instead of a seat, it had a massive wooden or metal spike. Its victims were slowly lowered down onto it until eventually it pierced their most sensitive parts. Comment which of these devices sounds the most painful to you and follow for more.
Scary things you never knew. The last one is crazy. If you knew your mom wasn't home, but you heard somebody at your door with her voice, would you answer?
Gabe? Gabe? It's your mom. You should come out.
Do you want to know who your secret crush is? It's the second person you see when you click share and more. In 1991, Philip Lewis, who we know as Mr. Mosby on Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, took a woman's life while drunk driving. His blood alcohol level was 3 times the legal limit. But since Maryland didn't have strict laws on drunk driving yet, he only served about 1 prison year and some community service. No one can comment under this video and get 0 likes. If there is a comment with 0 likes, you are the chosen one. Before we get to the last scary thing, please support this page by clicking the follow button for more interesting posts every day. 2 cops were called to a graveyard to investigate noises when they heard this. Yeah, comment below what you think that was.
Top 10 most evil people in history. Number 10 is Saddam Hussein. We all remember Saddam. Number 9, Kim Jong-il, who is the uncle and the former leader of Kim Jong-un of North Korea, and he was even worse than Kim Jong-un. Like, even though Kim Jong-un is bad, like, we got a step up from Kim Jong-il. I remember reading that he once fed his family to dogs. Number 8 is Genghis Khan, the guy, you know, the Mongolia Chinese wall, the Great Wall of China, forced everybody to do that. Number 7, Heinrich Himmler, one of the right-hand men in the Nazi Party, was just all around evil. Number 6, Pol Pot, terrible man, maybe was one of the most ruthless killers in history. Number 5, Mao Zedong, the terrible emperor of China. Number 4, Osama bin Laden, the fool who committed 9/11 and went in hiding, and then we all forgot about him until Obama was like, we're actually going to go get him now. And I was like, thank God. Number 3, Vlad the Impaler. Vlad the Impaler is the basis for the character of Dracula. His middle name was Dragula, and he was known for impaling his victims on sticks and posing them in front of the castle. Number 2, Joseph Stalin, who was the leader of Russia during World War II, and he was basically one of the most ruthless killers as well. He had concentration camps for the Russians that didn't support him, and millions of people died under him. If you like this list and want more lists about other nonsense, follow me. Leave me a comment with the most evil person in history in your book. Also follow my Instagram and fiance Samantha, who I've tagged. Number 1, I can't even say his name on TikTok, but we all know who it is. Evil Austrian mustache man.